Have you ever quietly looked at an aging loved one, your grandparent, your mother, your father, and felt that something is changing, even if it's subtle, almost imperceptible? Maybe they're eating just a little less than before. Maybe their afternoon naps are longer now. Or maybe there's a deeper stillness in their eyes, a quiet distance that wasn't there before. Many people assume that when an elderly person nears the end of life, it will happen suddenly, like a moment that takes us by surprise. But the truth is different. Our body, our mind, and our emotions, especially after a long life journey, often leave behind small signs. Quiet, gentle, but very real. Sadly, we, those who are beside them, are often too busy or too afraid to notice and truly understand these signals. And sometimes, by the time we do, it's already too late. This video isn't meant to bring fear. It's a gentle reminder that if we pay closer attention just a little earlier, we may be able to give more. A warm hand to hold, a kind question, a comforting meal. We'll walk through 5 signs that often appear in the final year of an elderly person's life. These signs are not loud or alarming, but they are enough for us to understand. Life is transitioning, naturally and quietly. And if you are here now, listening to these words, perhaps you too are carrying a deep love for someone in your heart. I hope these next few moments help you walk beside them with steadiness, peace, and presence. Sign 1. Noticeable weight loss, when the body quietly sends a signal. One of the first, and most often overlooked, signs is when your aging loved one begins to lose weight gradually. At first, it may not seem serious. That dress shirt that once fit just right now feels a little loose. The pants need an extra notch on the belt, or perhaps they glance in the mirror and quietly wonder, I think I've gotten thinner. Many families simply say, maybe they're just not eating well. Maybe it's just age. But the truth is, unintentional weight loss in the elderly should never be taken lightly. As someone approaches the final stage of life, the body begins to change in deep and subtle ways. The digestive system slows down. Nutrient absorption weakens. The ability to process protein drops, causing muscle to fade away gradually, silently, day by day. And then they grow weaker, tire more easily, lose balance, and become more prone to falling. It's not just about appearance. Losing muscle is losing strength, losing independence, and losing the confidence they've built a lifetime to preserve. They may no longer stand as firmly as before. No longer cook a simple meal on their own or take that morning walk to the park. And with each change, their sense of dignity slowly erodes. Appetite also begins to fade. Foods they once loved now seem dull. The taste is off, and slowly meals turn from joy into obligation. At some point, they may even stop eating, not because they're sad, but because they simply don't feel the need anymore. In many cases, this weight loss is also the quiet signal of serious underlying conditions, like cancer, kidney failure, or heart disease, illnesses that often don't show clear symptoms until very late. Families often try to help. Come on, Mom, you have to eat to stay strong. But eventually, you'll realize, it's not about whether the food tastes good. It's about how the body is gently beginning to close the door on digestion, as part of a natural process. At that point, pushing food may no longer help. What matters more is turning each meal into a warm, gentle experience, with no pressure, no expectations. A small bowl of porridge, a spoonful of milk, a soft word of encouragement, can mean more than a dozen reminders. If you notice your loved one becoming noticeably thinner, look closely. Not just with your eyes, but with your heart. Because that may be the body's very first whisper that a new journey is beginning. And your care right now could be the softest light guiding them forward in peace. Sign 2. Persistent fatigue and exhaustion. When the body no longer wants to struggle. There are mornings when your loved one doesn't want to get out of bed. Not because they're lazy, not because they're sad, but simply because their body doesn't have enough energy to begin a new day. One of the most important signs as an elderly person enters their final stage of life is deep, lasting exhaustion, a kind of fatigue that no amount of rest can cure. They might sleep more than usual, yet still wake up feeling drained. Standing up, getting dressed, or just walking from one room to another, things that once felt effortless, now feel like climbing a mountain. This isn't just physical tiredness. It's a deeper depletion, a fading of life energy itself. As vital organs begin to slow down, the body enters an energy-saving mode. It prioritizes keeping the heart, brain, and essential functions going. Other activities, walking, talking, eating, gradually become non-essential. You may notice them sleeping longer, speaking less, and often sinking into long silences. But don't misunderstand. That silence doesn't mean they don't care. It's their body's quiet way of saying, "I'm tired. Let me rest for a while." Sadly, this physical fatigue often brings emotional pain too. Someone who was once independent now needs help sitting up, getting dressed, or even eating. For many seniors, this isn't just inconvenient, it's deeply discouraging. They may hesitate to ask for help. They may pull away, not out of sadness, but because they don't want to be a burden. And so they withdraw. They talk less, smile less. They no longer show up at family gatherings. This is when your sensitivity matters most. Don't rush them out of bed. Don't push them to walk. Don't try to drag them back into normal life. Instead, sit down next to them. Place a gentle hand on their shoulder. Say their name with warmth. Tell old stories. Play a song they used to love. Even just a few quiet moments together can calm a tired soul. Because at this stage, they don't need you to wake them up. They need you to hold them with tenderness right where they are. And remember, as their strength fades, love is the last energy that remains, and the strongest of all. Sign 3. Memory decline and emotional withdrawal. When the mind begins to gently close. One day, your mother might look at you and ask, "Did you eat yet?" And just a few minutes later, ask the exact same thing. Or your father, who used to remember every family gathering and every anniversary, suddenly forgets what day it is. At first, it's mild forgetfulness. Then, it deepens. They forget the names of their grandchildren. They forget the names of longtime friends. And then, most painfully of all, they begin to forget who they themselves once were. As an elderly person approaches the end of life, memory decline and emotional withdrawal often come quietly, but unmistakably. The brain, like any other organ, is affected by aging and slowing down. Blood flow decreases. Processing slows. Memories begin to fall away, one by one, like the last leaves of autumn. But this isn't just memory loss. It's a gentle retreat from the world, a slow closing of doors. Your loved one may talk less. They lose interest in things they once loved. They might sit for hours by the window with a distant gaze, not sad, not happy, just quiet. For family, this can be the most heartbreaking stage. To watch someone who once lit up every room slowly lose their way, even inside their own home, is a kind of grief words can't describe. But know this, they are not doing it on purpose. This is their mind's way of gently releasing its grip on the outside world. Softly, slowly, naturally. And even if they can no longer respond with a smile, a word, or a glance, the love in their heart remains. The most beautiful truth is, love doesn't need memory. They may forget your name, but still feel peace when you hold their hand. They may not remember the story you tell, but still smile at your familiar voice. Because in these final moments, what lingers isn't memory, it's emotion. Be patient. Don't try to drag them back to the present. Step into their world, gently. Sit with them, sing that old song they used to love, or simply just be there. Because sometimes your quiet presence is all they need to know they are loved. Sign 4. Frequent infections and slow healing. When the body no longer wants to fight back. You might notice something isn't right. Your loved one, who used to be strong, now gets tired from a lingering cough or runs a mild fever that doesn't go away. A small scratch on their arm takes forever to heal. A bug bite that once would have faded in days is now red and swollen for weeks. These things may not seem serious in youth, but in the elderly, especially during the final stage of life, they're often signs that the body is letting go of recovery. The human body is a remarkable machine. But at some point, after the heart has beaten for decades, the liver has filtered countless toxins, and the lungs have drawn millions of breaths. Each part begins to slow, and eventually to stop. At this point, the immune system, that quiet armor we all depend on, starts to weaken. It no longer has the strength to fight off bacteria, viruses, or even a small scratch. Your loved one may develop repeated urinary tract infections, silent pneumonia, or seem confused, restless, or lose appetite, when in fact, a hidden infection may be quietly taking place. Families often feel confused. They bring them to the doctor. Medications are given, injections, supplements. But the infections keep returning. And they ask, why isn't this going away? Sometimes the answer isn't in stronger medicine. It's in understanding that the body doesn't want to fight anymore. But that doesn't mean we give up. It means we shift from trying to cure to choosing to care. Care for each bite of food, each hour of rest. Care for every small wound, every wince of discomfort. And care for those long, quiet stretches when they say nothing, but their eyes seem so fragile. At this point, love no longer shows up in prescriptions. It shows up in how we gently clean their wounds, in the way we speak when they lie still, and in the way we breathe slowly beside them, as if to say, "It's okay. I'm right here." Many ask, how do I know when my loved one is nearing the end? Maybe it's when small wounds don't heal, when medication no longer works, and when a warm hand to hold becomes the most powerful medicine. So listen, observe, be gentle, because when the body is tired, love, given daily, wordlessly, is the last thing they will hold on to. Sign 5. Changes in breathing and circulation. When breath becomes quieter than words. Perhaps no sign moves us or breaks our hearts, quite like changes in breathing. It's when we begin to see, with our own eyes, that life is slowly, gently preparing to close. Breaths that were once steady now become slower, shallower, sometimes even pause altogether. There may be moments of fast breathing for a few minutes, followed by complete silence that makes your own heart skip. This isn't a sudden emergency, not a dramatic medical crisis. It's the sign of a body quietly shifting from living to resting, permanently. There's a particular breathing pattern that may appear, known as Cheney-Stokes respiration, a cycle of deep breaths, followed by long, quiet pauses, and then breathing resumes. It might look alarming, but in truth, it's the body's natural way of conserving the final energy reserves. And it's not just the breathing. Circulation changes too. Hands and feet begin to cool. Fingertips turn pale or bluish. Facial color fades. The skin may take on blotchy or grayish tones. These changes, as difficult as they are to witness, are signs that the heart, after decades of loyal work, is slowly winding down. For family, this can be the hardest time. There's an urge to do something, to hold on, to make it stop. But the truth is, there's nothing left to fix, only something left to protect. If they struggle to breathe while lying down, gently help them sit up. If their lips are dry, moisten them with a cotton swab. If there's coughing or gurgling, keep the room airy, soft, and calm. There's no need to force food or conversation, because by now, every effort should transform into love. Your presence, sitting beside them, holding their hand, whispering softly, is the final thing they may be able to feel. Nothing matters more now than a light touch, a quiet word. I'm here. It's okay. They may not respond, their eyes may be closed, but deep in their chest, that aging heart still feels the warmth you bring. And if you can, let their final breath happen gently. Not startled, not alone, not cold, but held. In familiar arms, with whispered love, and in the soft light of a life that has been lived to completion. Dear friend, we've just walked through 5 signs that often appear in the final year of an elderly person's life. Maybe you're noticing these changes in someone you love. Maybe you've never thought about it until now. Or maybe you've already lived through it. And today, sitting here, listening to these words, is your way of remembering, of understanding, of forgiving the things left undone. Wherever you are on this journey, please remember, when we understand the signs of life's transition, we don't have to fear the end. We learn how to prepare. We learn how to love more deeply. And we learn how to say goodbye, not in panic or sorrow, but through presence and gentleness. No one lives forever, but everyone deserves to pass on wrapped in warmth, in the arms of someone who loves them, with the quiet belief that they have not been forgotten. If this video has touched your heart, leave a comment below. Share a memory! Or simply write the name of someone you're thinking of right now. Because sometimes, just saying the name of an elderly loved one is a way to hold them gently in this world for a little longer. Don't forget to subscribe to Light of Wise Elders so we can continue walking this journey together, learning, loving, and living with more depth each day. Thank you for listening. And may peace find you and those you love today and always.